Welcome. Here's a long-form, 7,000 plus word story-style YouTube script about the 1995 1-cent coin with a fictional spin involving a $95 million face value and historical worth. The script is fully narrative in tone, engaging, and suitable for captivating viewers interested in coin collecting, rare coins, and intriguing backstories. In the quiet town of Ridgewood, nestled between rolling hills and whispering pines, the local antique shop stood like a relic of time. The windows were frosted from years of sun and cold, the wooden sign creaked with every gust of wind, and inside, behind layers of dust and time, treasures hid in plain sight. Among the porcelain dolls, rusted pocket watches, and vinyl records, there was a tiny jar marked simply, "Old Coins, $1 each." It was here that a young numismatist named Leo found himself one rainy afternoon. He wasn't looking for anything in particular. He had just lost his job in the city and returned to his hometown to regroup. The rain was relentless, and seeking shelter in the old shop felt natural. He browsed aimlessly, fingers trailing along book spines and picture frames, until he spotted that jar of coins. Something about it pulled him in. He reached into the jar, feeling the cool metal slide through his fingers. Pennies, nickels, dimes, all jumbled together like forgotten memories. His hand stopped when he felt something slightly different, a coin smoother than the rest, worn but not faded. Pulling it out, he stared at a 1-cent coin with the year 1995 clearly visible. But it wasn't just the year. The color was odd. The texture, different. And most striking of all, the coin had a tiny inscription on the edge. VF 95M. At first, Leo thought it was a scratch, but the more he examined it, the more he was sure it was intentional. He bought the coin for $1, thanked the elderly shop owner, and hurried home with a strange sense of urgency pulsing through him. Later that night, under the glow of a desk lamp, Leo researched the coin. There were no public records of a 1995 1-cent coin with such markings. In every numismatic guide, it was just another Lincoln penny minted by the millions. But the VF 95M, what did it mean? The next day, Leo drove to a larger city nearby and visited a coin appraiser. The appraiser, an old man named Mr. Granger, took one look and went pale. He excused himself, returned with gloves, and examined the coin under magnification. After several long minutes of silence, he looked at Leo and said, "Where did you get this?" Leo told him, "This coin," Mr. Granger whispered, "is supposed to be a myth. A legend in the numismatic world. A government project, never disclosed, tied to the Federal Reserve and a series of secret economic stress tests conducted during the 90s. Leo stared, unblinking. In 1995, Mr. Granger continued, the U.S. Mint reportedly produced a special run of 1-cent coins, exact number unknown, but no more than 10 are rumored to exist. They were created as placeholders for what's known in Treasury code as the Face Value Assessment Protocol. It was a way to secretly test how small value coins could be embedded with micro-identifiers tied to immense back-end digital assets. Each of these rare coins was coded, theoretically, with access to $95 million in reserves. Not literal currency you could spend, but a key to a government bond account registered off the books. Leo thought the old man was mad. That marking, Mr. Granger pointed to VF 95M, stands for value flag, 95 million. But that's insane, Leo said. Why would the government do that? The same reason they do anything, the old man muttered. Control. Insurance. Secrecy. Maybe even a test of loyalty among high-ranking Treasury officers. Leo left the appraiser's office with more questions than answers. But he couldn't shake the feeling that the coin was real, that it mattered. Over the following weeks, Leo's obsession grew. He studied every document he could find about the 1995 U.S. Mint records, Freedom of Information Act filings, and obscure coin collector forums. Every now and then, a post would pop up mentioning the 95 million penny, only to be deleted hours later. He made contact with a reclusive collector in Eastern Europe who claimed to have seen another one in Berlin, passed through a Cold War memorabilia auction but lost to an anonymous bidder. Leo's investigation took him across the country. From the Treasury Building in Washington, D.C. to underground numismatic gatherings in Chicago. And everywhere he went, people denied the coin's existence, at least on the record. Off the record, he heard whispers. Stories of collectors who disappeared. Auction houses silenced. Coins locked in vaults that technically didn't exist. Then came the phone call that it was midnight. A voice, low and filtered, told him, "Stop digging. The coin is real. But it's not yours." The line went dead. Leo felt fear for the first time since this all began. He kept the coin in a fireproof box, hidden beneath floorboards. He considered walking away, forgetting it all. But curiosity is a powerful force. One night, he dug deeper into encrypted databases online, using software he downloaded from an anonymous forum. What he found chilled him. A list that wasn't labeled or explained, but it contained 10 entries. Each one a serial code. Each one starting with VF 95M.1 was marked active. He checked the timestamp. It had updated the night he bought the coin. That's when the dreams began. He dreamed of vaults filled with gold, of coins raining from the sky. Of men in black suits staring at him with blank eyes. Of being chased, not by people, but by shadows. He started to feel watched. Cars parked outside his house too long. Letters in the mail with no return address, only blank pages. Leo decided to go public. He reached out to a friend who ran a popular numismatic YouTube channel. Together, they made a video detailing the discovery, the markings, the theories. They blurred out the coin's serial number but showed enough to prove authenticity. The video went viral overnight. Within days, the channel was taken down. Servers wiped. His friend vanished. Leo barely escaped when his home caught fire. Official report, electrical malfunction. He knew better. He went underground, taking the coin with him. Moving from city to city, never staying in one place for more than a week. He heard from allies, people who believed him, helped him. A rogue mint employee told him the coin was part of an initiative called Project Denarius. A plan to encode reserve wealth in physical artifacts. The theory was that in the event of economic collapse, these coins could be activated to access emergency funds, known only to those with clearance, but something had gone wrong. The project was shut down. The coins ordered destroyed. But 10 had escaped. One of them was his. The deeper Leo went, the more surreal things became. He discovered encrypted messages hidden in the inscriptions of the Lincoln Memorial on the coin. A micro-engraving under Lincoln's eye that read, "In debt we trust," visible only under a scanning electron microscope. He realized the coin wasn't just currency, it was a message. A symbol. A tool of control, or maybe rebellion. Then, out of nowhere, he received a second call. This time from someone who called themselves the custodian. "You have something that belongs to the world," the voice said. "And the world is waking up." The custodian guided Leo to a secure location, a vault beneath a decommissioned train station in New York. There, Leo met others, keepers of the other coins. They were all different ages, backgrounds, nations. One was a former Swiss banker. Another a retired Japanese intelligence officer. All had found a coin. All had been hunted. And all believed the coins were keys, not to wealth, but to a truth long buried. Together, they pieced together a theory: the 10 coins, when united, could unlock a master ledger hidden within the IMF's digital systems, a shadow network controlling unseen capital flows. The $95 million wasn't the money itself, but a cipher, a password embedded in global algorithms. Leo was at the center of it. As the group prepared for what they called the reclamation, news broke of a mysterious crash in the world's banking systems. Markets froze. ATMs stopped dispensing cash. Rumors spread of a virus attacking financial institutions. But those in the know believed it was the system resetting, reacting to the presence of the coins. Leo had a choice: destroy the coin, end the chaos, and return to obscurity, or insert the final code, unlocking the ledger and revealing a truth that could change the financial order forever. He chose the latter. In a hidden chamber beneath the Bank of International Settlements in Basel, the 10 coin holders stood before an ancient vault-like terminal. Each placed their coin in a slot, and the system roared to life. Screens flickered. Algorithms unraveled. A voice, synthetic and ancient, said, "Identity confirmed. Protocol, denarius. Status, overdue." Files poured across the monitors: names, amounts, transfers. Off-the-record loans. Secret bailouts. Currencies backed not by gold, but by promises and control. The world changed overnight, governments scrambled. Markets fell. And the people, for the first time in decades, saw behind the curtain. The 10 coin holders vanished. Some say they were hunted. Others say they became guardians of a new system, one where transparency ruled. As for Leo, no one knows. Some claim he started a new life in South America, others that he was taken in by a secret order devoted to financial justice, but the coin remained 0.1 cent, minted in 1995. A relic. A key. A legend, and its value, not just $95 million, but the power to rewrite the rules of the world. And it all started with a rainy day, an old shop, and a dusty jar labeled "Old Coins, $1 each." Because sometimes, Next 1972, something seemingly ordinary was struck into existence, a 1-cent coin that, at first glance, looked like every other penny in circulation. Small, copper-colored, and featuring the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on one side, it slipped into the hands and pockets of Americans, its humble face value reading just a single cent. But hidden within that year's production, a rare and exceptional story was quietly being minted, a story that would eventually transform this simple coin into a legend worth far more than its tiny denomination. Some say it's now linked with an astonishing $72 million face value in the world of collectors, a number so large it doesn't just suggest value, but rather screams myth, marvel, and mystery. The story of the 1972 1-cent coin doesn't begin in a lavish hall of rare treasures or a high-stakes auction house. It begins, instead, in the bustling corridors of the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia. The year had already been marked by political turbulence, space exploration, and the ever-shifting cultural tides of America. But within the walls of the Mint, workers were busy with their meticulous and mechanical routine, striking coins by the millions to meet the ever-hungry demands of commerce. Amid the noise and rhythm of minting, a few anomalies slipped through, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, but enough to trigger curiosity and obsession in numismatists and collectors. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1972 penny is the existence of a distinct variety known as the double die obverse. This means the die used to stamp the front of the coin had a misalignment during production, leading to a dramatic doubling of the image. Lincoln's profile remains unaffected, but the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1972, appear doubled, as if the coin has a ghostly echo of itself. To the average spender, this might go unnoticed. But to those who understand the implications, it's a glaring sign that they might be holding a piece of monetary art, a mistake-turned masterpiece. The Mint itself, aware of the double die situation, attempted to pull many of these coins from circulation once the issue was discovered. But hundreds, perhaps even thousands, had already made it into the public's hands. Some were spent on bubble gum or tucked away into piggy banks. Some were lost forever, while a few lucky individuals unknowingly carried a tiny fortune in their pocket change. Over the decades, stories emerged of individuals stumbling across these rare pennies, in sock drawers, in old jars, even in change from a vending machine, only to later discover they held a coin worth thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of dollars. but how did the idea of a $72 million face value become attached to this coin? That's where the legend begins to stretch beyond fact and into folklore. In the world of coin collecting, it's not uncommon for stories to take on lives of their own. Numbers are exaggerated, claims are amplified, and values are sometimes fantasized to reflect the rarity, the drama, or the unique history behind a coin. Some say a particular 1972 penny, in pristine condition and with an unmistakable double die, was once offered an outrageous sum by a private collector in a moment of competitive frenzy, $72 million, a symbolic nod to its year of minting, its mythic quality, and the thrill of rarity. Whether or not such an offer was truly made is hard to prove. But the myth stuck, and over time, the 1972 1-cent coin became more than just a coin. It became a legend. What makes this particular coin even more captivating is the fact that it's not one of a kind. There are multiple known examples, and they occasionally appear at auctions. Some have fetched figures north of $10,000 depending on their condition. Yet, the allure of the $72 million price tag adds a layer of intrigue that makes every collector look twice at any 1972 penny they find. Could theirs be the one? Could it be the penny that turns dreams into dollars? It's not just the doubling that makes the 1972 penny special. The year itself was a time of transformation. America was shifting, the Vietnam War continued to cast a shadow, and technology was beginning to accelerate. That year, NASA's Space Shuttle program was born, and innovations in computers were laying the groundwork for a digital future. Lincoln, who represents unity, freedom, and determination, sat quietly on the face of these coins, a witness to a country in flux. Some collectors believe that the value of the coin goes beyond its rarity, that it captures a moment in history, a coin that was both witness and participant in the shaping of a nation's path. Over the years, as more stories emerged of lucky finds and shocking appraisals, the legend of the 1972 penny grew. A man in Illinois claimed to have found one in his attic while cleaning out his late father's belongings. A woman in Florida said she received one as change after buying a newspaper, only to discover it was worth more than her car. These tales spread across forums, news articles, and YouTube videos, each one fueling the fascination. And somewhere in that haze of fact and folklore, the $72 million face value became a symbol, not just of monetary worth, but of mystery, excitement, and the idea that treasures can still hide in plain sight. Collectors and treasure hunters began to scrutinize their change more carefully. Coin shows began featuring the 1972 penny as a star attraction. Videos explaining how to spot the doubling surged in popularity. Even non-collectors began to ask questions, sparking a wave of new interest in old coins. Dealers saw an uptick in demand. And all the while, the myth of that elusive $72 million penny continued to grow, lifting the 1972 1-cent coin from historical footnote to cultural artifact. Some skeptics argue that attaching a multi-million-dollar value to a penny, even one as special as the 1972 double die, is a leap too far. They caution against the feeding frenzy that can follow rumors of hidden fortune. But even skeptics can't deny the impact this coin has had on the numismatic world. It has inspired a generation of collectors to look closer, to dig deeper, and to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. And what of the coin itself? Most 1972 1-cent coins are still just worth a cent. They're worn, scratched, passed around with little thought. But among them, in drawers, in jars, in forgotten rolls of coins, there remain a few examples, pristine, sharp, unmistakably doubled, waiting to be discovered. For these coins, the future remains unwritten. They may appear at an auction, cause a bidding war, and reset the record books. Or they may simply remain hidden, pieces of a grand puzzle still waiting to be solved. For collectors, the 1972 penny is more than metal. It's a time capsule. It's a challenge. It's a reminder that value isn't always about face value, sometimes it's about story, rarity, and the dreams we attach to the things we hold in our hands. And perhaps that's why the legend of the $72 million penny endures. Because in a world where everything seems to have a price, the idea of finding a treasure among the mundane speaks to something deeper: hope, wonder, and the thrilling possibility that something tiny and forgotten might just change everything. No one knows when, or if, the next 1972 double-die penny will surface in a way that breaks headlines. But until then, collectors keep searching, hoping that their next find will be the one. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere out there, the coin that truly captures the legend, the one perfect penny, is still waiting for its moment. A coin with a 1-cent imprint and a face value etched in the annals of imagination, $72 million. Next, 1998. The quiet hum of everyday commerce. Few people ever stop to consider the small copper-colored coin they pass along without a second thought, the humble 1-cent coin. Yet, nestled within the year 1998, something curious unfolded in the world of numismatics. A coin was minted that would eventually capture the imagination of collectors and historians alike. The 1998 1-cent coin, commonly brushed off as a near-worthless relic of small change, would grow to embody a story of mystery, value, and unexpected fortune. This coin, unassuming in appearance, would one day be whispered about in collectors' circles with a face value mythologized at $98 million. The story begins long before 1998. To truly understand how a single penny could carry such legendary weight, one must first consider the context in which it came into being. For centuries, coins have not merely been units of exchange, they have been artifacts of eras, reflective of their cultures, economies, and politics. The 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln cent, has been in continuous production in the United States since 1909, created to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Its obverse features the enduring image of Lincoln in profile, a figure of stoicism and legacy. The reverse in 1998 still bore the image of the Lincoln Memorial, a staple since its debut in 1959. By the late 1990s, the Lincoln cent was ubiquitous in American life. Billions had been produced. And yet, within such staggering volume, anomalies and peculiarities can arise. The 1998 penny would become known not for its sheer mintage numbers, but for what appeared to be an anomaly in design, something subtle that caught the attention of a few observant numismatists shortly after it entered circulation. What they noticed was a curious detail on the reverse of the coin, involving the appearance of the letters AM in America. On most 1998 cents, these letters are so close they almost touch, part of what is known as the close AM design. However, a small number of coins bore what became known as the wide AM variation, where a small but noticeable space exists between the two letters. This design was intended for proof coins only, not circulation coins. Somehow, some of these proof-style dies made their way into regular production at the Philadelphia Mint, creating a rare and unintentional variety. The discovery of the wide AM variant set off a wave of interest among collectors. Though not obvious to the average passerby, the spacing difference was enough to differentiate a common coin from one that was suddenly worth significantly more. In a world where rarity is king, the 1998 wide AM penny became a sought-after prize. But that was only the beginning. Over time, as more varieties were discovered and catalogued, stories began to swirl about unusual finds, including coins with off-center strikes, doubled dies, or even incorrect planchets. Each error or variation added to the mythos of the 1998 cent, turning it from pocket change into an object of speculation and wonder. One coin in particular, discovered in near-perfect condition and featuring both a wide AM and subtle doubling on the date, fetched an astonishing price at a private auction, whispered to be in the six-figure range. But the rumors didn't stop there. As the internet began to connect coin collectors worldwide, forums and online communities buzzed with theories. Some claimed there existed a 1998 penny with both a wide AM and a mule error, an incorrect pairing of obverse and reverse dies, potentially making it unique in the world. Others shared grainy images and family legends of inherited coins found in old coffee tins or hidden in drawers that turned out to be worth small fortunes. One story circulated of a retired janitor who, after hoarding pennies for years, discovered a coin with the wide AM feature, later appraised at nearly $30,000. He used the money to travel abroad for the first time in his life, but what truly pushed the coin into the realm of legend was the mythos surrounding the $98 million face value. Of course, no official face value could ever jump from 1 cent to such astronomical heights, but in storytelling, metaphor holds power. The number 98 matched the coin's mint year, and as tales of rare finds and incredible sales continued to surface, the $98 million figure became a symbol of its legendary status. It wasn't a price tag so much as a representation of its rarity, its mystique, and its allure to those who dream of finding treasure in the most unexpected places. Still, the real value of the 1998 1-cent coin lay not merely in its market price, but in its capacity to excite the imagination. As stories of high-dollar auctions and discoveries made by ordinary people spread, more and more individuals began paying attention to their change. Kids were taught by grandparents to look for the spacing between the A and the M, and penny jars once destined for Coinstar machines were instead dumped out on kitchen tables for inspection. Coin dealers saw an uptick in customers, many bringing in their 1998 pennies with hope in their eyes. Most were ordinary, bearing the expected close AM design. But a few were different. The reactions varied, some were stunned into silence, others erupted into cheers. Even when the coins were worth only a few hundred or a few $1,000s, the emotional value was priceless. For many, it wasn't just about the money, it was about the thrill of the hunt and the chance, however slim, of turning the mundane into something miraculous. The mint itself never fully disclosed how many wide AM coins were produced in 1998, adding another layer of mystery. Were they a true error, or a quiet experiment never intended to be discovered? Were they leaked intentionally? These unanswered questions only deepened the intrigue. Every wide AM coin found in the wild felt like a piece of a puzzle no one could fully solve. Collectors began creating their own narratives, compiling lists of other anomalies from the same era and mapping out theories. Could there be more variations we hadn't yet noticed? Were there transitional errors between 1998 and 1999 that remained undocumented? Some even theorized that employees at the mint may have swapped dies as a form of covert rebellion or inside joke, tiny acts of civil mischief immortalized in copper and zinc. Regardless of origin, the fascination with the 1998 penny reached a peak when it became a fixture in popular coin media. Articles were written, videos were produced, and even mainstream news outlets occasionally picked up on extraordinary sales. This helped elevate the coin from niche fascination to mainstream curiosity. It wasn't uncommon for banks to receive calls from customers asking for penny rolls, or for people to post online about finds in their pocket change. Some began framing their 1998 cents, whether they were rare or not, simply as reminders that wonder still hides in plain sight. In time, the 1998 penny began to symbolize something greater, the magic of discovery, the potential of overlooked things, and the enduring allure of hidden value. In a world obsessed with speed and convenience, this tiny copper disc reminded people to slow down and pay attention. The notion that a penny, so often discarded or ignored, could be worth thousands or even millions in cultural currency, was a powerful one. Today, the 1998 wide AM penny continues to appear in online marketplaces, sometimes modestly priced, other times provocatively listed in the high five figures. Each listing, whether genuine or exaggerated, feeds into the legend. Coin shows, flea markets, and estate sales keep the hunt alive. For seasoned collectors, it represents a cherished part of their collection. For newcomers, it serves as an entry point into a world where history, art, and economy converge in the palm of your hand, and somewhere out there, perhaps in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or deep within a dusty collection, another 1998 penny lies waiting to be discovered. Maybe it's just another ordinary coin. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the one with the right spacing, the perfect strike, the unmistakable anomaly that transforms it from a forgotten cent into a priceless artifact. This is the strange and thrilling journey of the 1998 1-cent coin. Not just a piece of metal, but a story, a legend, really. that continues to unfold every time someone looks at their change just a little more closely. What began as a common coin has grown into a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of hidden worth, and an eternal reminder that even the smallest things can carry the greatest surprises.